it's crooked. Hi guys, welcome back to Melissa Loves Orchids. I have a treat for you. So I know you all love to learn, and you love to learn from our local experts. So if you can see, I have someone right behind me. He is our local expert. He has another half, but he's over there doing other experty things. So today we are going to have a long talk all about fertilizer.
Thank you, Melissa. Hi, everybody. I'm Carlos. I'm with O.F.E., and you've seen me in videos before. And I want to talk to you folks about fertilizing and what the different fertilizers are and what are the components, etc., and demystify a little bit of the fertilizing usage. I always love to say that fertilizers have three components: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. The three letters NPK. Basically, what I tell people is that the first number, nitrogen, is for growth, leaves. Second, phosphorus is for blooms, flowers. And the third, potassium, is for root development. So to remember, make it easy to remember, and you know what the numbers mean, is like leaves, flowers, roots. That will simplify things, and it will take you to where you want to be. When it comes to fertilizers do have the three major, what they call macro elements, which are the three aforementioned nutrients, but they also have micro elements. They're also called trace elements. Those are the supplements, the additional components, and you have some among them. You have magnesium, you have calcium, you have sulfur, you have iron, you have manganese, you have molybdenum, you have zinc, and they all feed the orchid, and they allow the orchid to benefit from the macro elements that you're giving them. So I'm going to take you through different choices that we carry here at O.F.E., and I'll mention some that we don't carry but they're readily available also, and we'll go through it, and hopefully we'll make a good day out of this. All right, we're going to start with your granddaddy of them all, which is your Peters 20-20-20, or a balanced fertilizer 20-20-20. This is what the literature refers to most of the time. Is a fertilizer that has been available since the early part of the century. It works perfectly well. It has been used in the industry continuously since it was created, and there's a caveat on it. 20-20-20 has the first number 20, the nitrogen. It is derived from urea. About 12 of that 20 is urea-based fertilizer. The problem with urea when it comes to orchids is that urea is not processed by orchids. Orchids do not process urea. So basically, the urea comes to the plant and basically just runs off. They don't assimilate it. It needs to be broken down by beneficial bacteria into nitrates that are then assimilated, but they can be assimilated by the plant. The problem with that is that this takes time, and by the time the bacteria finally get to the urea to make it into nitrates, that urea has gone through the roots and is on the ground. So there's a little bit of a drawback there, and the industry has provided alternatives to your 20-20-20. It's not to say that it doesn't work, it's not to say that it doesn't feed, but there are options that do feed better. I like to say that all roads lead to Rome, but others will get you there faster than other choices. So with that in mind, we're going to go into something completely different, which is your 20-10-20. 20-10-20 is also made by Peters, and we have become aware of this because the 20 on the 20-10-20 is all nitrates and ammonia nitrates. So orchids do see a 20-10-20 compared to a 20-20-20 that orchids see only in 8-20-20. So see the difference? So this is a better feeder for high nitrogen users. Some of them are catasetums, cycnoches. Those guys benefit from a high nitrogen regime. It does have trace elements in it. I can provide a copy of the label, the manufacturer's label, that lists all the different trace elements on the 20-10-20. But if you're looking for a high nitrogen fertilizer, this is the option that we carry. The industry refers also to a 30-10-10 as a choice for a high nitrogen, and that runs into the same problem as the 20-20-20. A lot of the nitrogen is derived from urea, so orchids do not see a proper 30-10-10. They'll see a 15-10-10 or 10-10-10, something like that. All right, so we covered the 20-10-20. Then we're gonna jump to the 10-30-20, and this is of course 10 is nitrogen, 30 is phosphorus, and 20 is potassium. So this one promotes, in theory, promotes blooms and roots. Now there's a thing when it comes to orchids. Orchids do not really bloom by you giving them a bloom fertilizer. You cannot make an orchid bloom out of cycle. They will bloom with the environmental conditions, or their internal clock tells them to bloom. Some orchids respond to changes in temperature, some orchids respond to changes in feeding and watering, some orchids respond in changes in the environmental conditions, light, etc. But they will bloom when their cycle tells them to bloom. Regrettably, we can't make them bloom on command.
And I'm glad you said that, because I had a lot of questions on, if you give them bloom booster, that means they're going to bloom more than they should bloom. Let's say they only bloom once a year, they might bloom twice a year. So that's a big misconception I think that people have, that bloom booster is just going to make them bloom out of their normal cycle of blooming.
Correct.
So Carlos just clarified that, and I'm glad he did. So if you think that it's going to do that, it's not going to do that. They're going to bloom when they're supposed to bloom.
Correct.
But what is the upside? They might bloom a little better when it's their time.
That's exactly right. Not only that, they'll be more prolific in their blooming.
Ooh, yes.
Basically, a well-fed plant has the resources to do the job at hand. So a well-fed plant, a more completely fed plant, in other words, that you alternate between a balanced fertilizer and a bloom fertilizer, or you use a potassium nitrate, which is nitrogen, and whatever you alternate, and you give the plant as many choices as possible, she'll retain those, and when it comes time to use, she'll have the resources on hand to apply them to the job at hand. So when the plant decides to bloom, she'll use the phosphorus that is in the bloom booster, and she will give you more flowers out of the bloom spike, and she will also give you larger and more vibrant colors on the flowers. It won't make her bloom, but when it's time for her to bloom, she will bloom beautifully.
I love that, because it gives you an incentive to use it, but it doesn't mislead you into thinking that you're going to get an orchid to bloom when it's not supposed to bloom.
Correct.
So I think it's enough benefit to throw it in there. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
So what would you say is a good rotation, like regular bloom, or?
That's exactly right. Do like a balanced fertilizer, do another grow fertilizer, and then do a bloom fertilizer, and then you can use the 4th week of the month to either fumigate or to just drench your plants, which is also a good practice. Just drench them in water to rinse everything off once a month. So you have
a good flushing.
Exactly. But you do have alternatives, and you do have choices. I'm not saying do not use bloom fertilizer. Do use it, but know that it's not going to make your plants bloom. It's going to make them bloom better when it's their cycle. Right.
Realistically, know what they're for. They're not going to make them bloom if they're not supposed to bloom. And also, what if they're not healthy? Even if they're supposed to bloom, if they're not healthy, it doesn't have a good root system, the bloom booster is not going to fix the roots, right?
Correct. Well, actually, a bloom booster does, it has a 20 at the end, which it helps towards the root development.
Right.
But you're exactly right. I mean, orchids are, bottom line, orchids are plants, air plants, and they live and die by their root system.
Right.
You need to have a healthy, strong root system for them to thrive.
Yeah.
So yes, you definitely have to, you build your building with a strong base, and you can go as high as you want.
Yay, I love that.
It's the same thing with
orchids. Good foundation. The roots need to be there.
Exactly. And so we'll get into that with some of the supplements and some of the different things that are available for root development. But definitely use it. Another thing too, aside when it comes to the bloom booster, is that you have a combination of bloom booster plus seaweed plus super thrive. And another grower has had the experience of having kikis develop on Vandas. And when the Vanda is leggy, in other words, it dropped the bottom leaves,
Right.
and you have what looks like a palm.
The palm tree, yeah.
And she's using that combination of a bloom booster, a kelp seaweed fertilizer, and super thrive on those plants, and she's getting them to produce more kikis at the base. So all of a sudden, instead of having one lanky little Vanda, you have one lanky little Vanda surrounded by 2 or 3 babies on the
Wow.
bottom that would also bloom when the mother blooms.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you have a spectacle. You have this beautiful thing with like
Right.
3 or 4 blooms all over the place, and you don't see the ugly cane that you
Right.
were
And if
seeing
you
before.
lose the mother, then you have
Then you
the
have 2 or
exact
3
copy.
plants. Exactly.
That's great.
Exactly.
Oh, that's
So
good.
that's a little aside on that. All right, we cover the 2020 high nitrogen. We cover the bloom booster, the 2020. If you don't have the time, like all of us, you're working, you have children, you have to do things, you have to travel, blah blah blah. You're going on vacation. Hello, welcome back. We have another solution for you, which is a slow release fertilizer, or what they call control release fertilizer. These guys feed for 6 months of the year. So basically you can sprinkle this directly on top of the roots, or you can use one of the little canisters that we provide, well, that we sell rather, something like this. Although sometimes people use empty tea bags, they use old pantyhose, any meshy material that is small enough to hold the granules. Basically you do this, you stick this on the plant.
Oh. Let me get closer
you
so
can
we
see
can
it.
all
Thank
see.
you. Put it right in there.
And then every time the orchid gets watered, it gets a little
It
bit
releases
of the
the
slow
fertilizer,
release.
and that will last you for 6 months.
Yes.
So for our friends, the snowbirds that go away for the summer, you can set your plants up with that, and every time
Right.
it rains, they'll get fed.
And you can do both, right, Carlos?
You can do both, exactly.
It's not going to overdo it if you do both?
It's not going to overdo it. This is small enough that it continues to feed. It's a continuous feed, but it's a smaller feeding. So you can definitely do the water soluble in conjunction with the
Right,
control
which is
release
what they're
fertilizer.
used to getting in nature anyway, where they get a small little feedings, whatever trickles down the tree, the natural waste of, let's say, a little bird or whatever it is, that's what they get. So they like the little bits every
Yeah, like what people say, weekly.
Yeah. Now I have another question.
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
it gets technical here. So let's so no, but this is true. I did hear this, that there's a difference. Someone said, oh yeah, there's 2 out there that you can get that's called Osmocote or Neutri-Coat, and one is better because one doesn't dissolve in the heat.
Correct.
So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I'm
Absolutely.
still
Osmocote is a well-known, time-tested, is basically the first one in the market as controlled release fertilizer. We all know the Osmocote 14-14-14. It feeds properly, it does the job well. However, there is a little problem there. Osmocote on temperatures is designed to dissolve in temperatures around 85 degrees. Anything over 85 degrees, the solution the solution rate speeds up to the point, and in our summer heat here in Florida, that it dumps all the fertilizer almost at once on top of the roots, burning the roots. So it's a little bit of a problem when you use Osmocote and you have it in contact directly with the roots, because when we this time of year we're facing 90 degrees all day long. And that Osmocote will release all that fertilizer. So instead of having a plant being fed for 6 months, you're gonna have the feeding of 6 months or 3 months rather
in one shot.
So it's too much too soon. So it does create that. The other choice is the one that we were mentioned, Neutri-Coat, which is also known as dynamite. And but make sure that it's dynamite, not the blended. There is a dynamite blend that has, you want the gray beads.
The gray beads, guys, the gray ones.
You don't want the yellow or the greens mixed with that, because that's what I mean with the blend.
Oh.
They do provide a blend fertilizer that I don't have too much experience on it, but I'll rather stay with
this
the
is
gray.
the tried and true. It has to be gray beads.
Yeah.
in our opinion.
And of course, we do also sell another one. There is a Sierra tablet, which is made by Osmocote. It's a different formulation. It's an 811 plus minors, and it comes in like, it looks like a bird feed, like a thimble, about this big, and actually that doesn't burn the roots, even though it's Osmocote, but it's a different formulation, and it doesn't burn the roots. And you can buy that in a granular or in the thimble form.
Yeah.
We sell that. You'll see our booth at the shows where we have that available. And basically the same thing. You can take one of those, stick it on top of the plant, and you'll feed for 6 months.
And what's the measurement of that? I saw the little size of the thimble, but is there like teaspoon or whatever? It's just sprinkle a little bit.
Well, it is a thimble, but you want to do basically. It depends on the size of the plant.
Oh yeah.
But if a larger plant, definitely a tablespoon. If not 2 tablespoons, a smaller plant, a teaspoon.
Okay.
Another tip too is like as the plant is growing. For example, these little dendrobiums, they grow sideways. They grow this way, and you're gonna have the new growth. I mean, if my hand is the canes, and this is the new growth, you want to set up your slow release in front of the new growth. So that guy will get the most benefit from that fertilizer in there.
Right.
Of course, the whole plant will eat. I mean, if you put it back here, the whole plant will get it. But ideal, if you put it right in front of it, there's an incentive for the new growth to grow faster and better and healthier and benefit more directly from that.
Right.
Those are the slow release fertilizers. Now we go into liquid fertilizers. One of the favorite liquid fertilizers that we carry is what used to be called Dynagrow fertilizers. Now Dynagrow was bought out by the people that make Super Thrive fertilizer, Super Thrive vitamins and hormones, and they changed the label from Dynagrow to Super Thrive. Now you're gonna see Super Thrive, but Super Thrive, you have to pay attention. This is a fertilizer, and it says on it, bloom. So don't think that this is Super Thrive, the supplement vitamins and hormones. This is a fertilizer, used to be called Dynagrow, now it's called Super Thrive, and you need to pay attention that it's bloom or grow, or whichever, Mac Pro or all the other formulations that they provide. This is the old label. This is the way it was before. And you can see that's Grow 795 right there. And this is their bloom and the formula
312.6.
Thank you. 312 right there, 312.6. So pay attention to that. This is a fertilizer. This is their old Super Thrive vitamins.
So this
and
is what
hormones.
I have.
This is what we all use in conjunction with our fertilizer when we feed our plants, when we're repotting, when we're doing new things, when we want the plant to establish itself faster. This is what we use. Now this is a supplement. This is vitamins and hormones. This is a fertilizer. Same name, but it's a different thing. So just so you know, now you know.
Oh, okay. Got it now.
So we have the liquid fertilizers that work the same way. Perfectly fine. One of the advantages of liquid fertilizers is that you don't have to deal with the solution and the math and all that other stuff. One of my pet peeves when it comes to fertilizing is that people do this, and they want to use this as a measurement, as a unit of measurement. This, my friends, is a lid, is a cap. This is only used to close your bottle.
So Carlos is smiling right now because I am giving him a face, which proves that I have been doing.
It's a very
Sometimes you get a little bit, I don't have time, and you just get the little tapita, and you go like this, and okay, don't do that, guys. Learn from my mistakes.
If it has, I mean,
if you measured out what goes in the cap and it's the right size, then go for it.
Then go for it.
Right? Pero you gotta have your measuring tools and do it right. This is scientific business here.
Well, you have to be careful because
we're not cooking a cake.
No, and actually even more so if you're cooking. Hi, yes. One of the things also I wanted to mention is like another choice on the fertilizer and the growth formula is like 15-5-15 Cal Mag. This has become very popular and is one of the choices with the low phosphorus, calcium, magnesium fertilizers. You have the famous MSU fertilizer that is also, it was based on a study that they did. Now the study that they did, see, this is the thing we were talking about earlier. when it comes to orchids, you have to ask more questions, because sometimes people say, "Oh, this is for orchids," but the research was done in one type of orchid, or the grower is growing one type of orchid, and it says, "Well, for orchids, I use this," but they don't tell you what type of orchids they're using or the conditions that they're using. So you have to, I'm not saying distrust, because they are knowledgeable and they're giving you honest, good information, but you have to ask yourself, what are they doing, how are they doing it, where are they doing it?
You have to pay attention to all the variables, so it makes a big difference depending on where you're growing, in a greenhouse, outside, in a room inside your house. Some people do that.
All these different things make a difference, and
your substrate, your pots, are you mounted? Everything makes a difference.
so you have to take everything. Just don't just take it. I run into this many times that people say, "Oh, but such and such told me to do this on my orchids," and I tell them, "Well, that person is an excellent grower or this type of orchids." What they're telling you is for their conditions and their inventory. It doesn't necessarily apply to everybody.
Right.
One perfect example is like the literature goes into using a bloom fertilizer in the winter, because most people were doing phalaenopsis, and phalaenopsis bloom in the winter into the spring. So you use a bloom fertilizer before they start to process the blooms, so the blooms come nicer and better and everything else. My questions has been, what do you do with the plants that bloom in the summer? You're not gonna feed them a bloom fertilizer? They don't deserve a bloom fertilizer? No, of course they do. So all that, you have to consider all those different questions. All right. One of the two fertilizers that I forgot to mention, one is a slow release fertilizer, which is this is the Sierra tablets that I was mentioning before. These are made by Osmocote. They're called Suncoat, and they don't burn.
Oh, okay. So it's a new and improved Osmocote. It won't burn.
It is a different one,
okay.
And it's a little bit more expensive. They're called Osmocote Plus tablets. This is a case of 1,000 tablets. Of course, you don't need to buy that. We sell it individually.
Oh.
But it does come with minors, and it doesn't burn.
Wow. Okay, so they fixed this burning problem. Yeah. And they're 50 cents. Not bad.
And you can do the same thing with,
that's good. If you are the kind of person that doesn't have enough time or forgets, this kind of thing can save.
Or you only have one orchid in their house.
Right. And you don't have to worry about fertilizing.
You don't have to buy $12 worth of fertilizer. You buy $1.
Right.
Stick it in there, and you're done.
Not even 50 cents.
Well, I sell them by $2 for $1.
$2 for $1. $2 for $1, guys. And they last for 6 months.
So actually, they last for 8 months.
8 months. Wow. So even more than a year for two. What? Yeah, you need to raise that price. It's too easy.
8 to 9 months. It's like, well, that's what the label says. Normally, you go 6 months. That's a good number.
6 months. It's already wasting away. You need to think about getting.
So we have going back to the one I was talking about before is the CalMag fertilizer. An MSU fertilizer is a one choice. There's a lot of variations of that in the market, and basically what the MSU fertilizer, the MSU research, the study that was done going on 10 years ago, if not longer, they did research on low phosphorus fertilizer, but they did it on phalaenopsis. So it goes to what I was telling you guys before. You have to ask these questions. You have to read the material.
Right.
That research, I mean, it translates and it applies to all the orchids. It's an excellent feeder. But the study was done on phalaenopsis. So,
right.
There's your answer. It's like, why will you use a bloom fertilizer on your orchids if it doesn't make them bloom? This, is because a well-fed plant will benefit tremendously, and at a variation of fertilizers. I come from the school that you provide them as many different choices as possible. So she has all the resources that the plant will need to do the job at hand. So I definitely suggest for people to alternate between a bloom fertilizer and a grow fertilizer and a high nitrogen or a liquid or a seaweed. You can do different things like that. Another really good fertilizer that is very popular here in Florida for the more serious collectors is
this is us guys, the serious collectors.
Palmer's water soluble fertilizers. That's another one of the CalMag fertilizer.
Wow, and this already has CalMag and seaweed.
And seaweed. So he added that. We have the Orchid Special, which is 14-2-14. And then we have
That looks good.
Root and Bloom with seaweed extract that is a 10-35-15. So you have that in 2 different formulations. These are 8-pound containers that sell for $45. And
Do you sell them in smaller
no
quantities? But this is gonna last you a very long time.
Well, depends on how many.
Depends on how many you have. For me,
2 weeks.
2 weeks. No.
For Melissa's 2 weeks.
Maybe a year, I would think. Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We'll keep that on.
Who knows? That's a good value. That's a good deal.
We'll hold on to it. I'll see you in 6 months.
We'll see how long.
Yeah. Anyhow, one thing about all these CalMag fertilizers is that they were originally designed for drip irrigation. So they're highly hygroscopic. In other words, they absorb humidity and they dissolve really, really quick. Everybody has run into the same problem that you get this guy, and within a couple of months you have all of a black, ugly, gucky mess on the bottom.
Yes.
And it's because she picked up the humidity in the air in the container. It's not even the humidity outside because the thing is sealed.
Right.
It goes through the air. If this is in a place where it warms up during the day, that air is going to expand, and when it cools down, it creates humidity. That humidity creates a microcondensation that starts to liquefy the fertilizer. What I'm here to tell you is that you can still use it even when it's a gucky mess, but what you do is you stir the whole thing up because the different components of the fertilizer will separate. So what you do is you stir up the whole thing and you use it in the same measurement. You use it, and again,
in the same measurement. So I'm glad you answered that, because I had that. Not the tapita.
Not the tapita.
Not the top, but
Not
you
the
have to
little
take
lid.
out your. And don't use the ones in your kitchen, guys. Use a separate one for your.
Dollar store. Well, ex-dollar store. Now it's like
It's $1.25.
$1.25.
Soon to be $1.50.
You can buy this anywhere, and it has a label in the back: half a tablespoon, 1 tablespoon, 1 teaspoon. So you use it. And by the way, this is how you measure.
Ooh. It's like when you're making a cake, you cannot mess up. The cake won't rise.
That's the way you measure.
Make sure it's flat, not a heaping.
You don't
it's
do
not
that.
a heaping. You're not putting.
You're
not putting coffee in you're not putting sugar in your Cuban coffee. You are making it flat, so it's actual teaspoon.
That's a teaspoon.
All right, I got it.
And that's what you use.
That's good that you said that, because sometimes depending on where you're from, heaping, measure with your heart.
I'm not having cake at your place.
We're not putting sugar in coffee. We're not doing the garlic on your steak. We are making fertilizer.
And I hate to be a stickler on that, but it does
Make a difference.
make a difference. It does facilitate things. It does allow you to control one variable. Because if you alternate and all of a sudden your plant suffers a little bit of sun burn, you don't know if it was temperature, if it was emptying, or somebody used too much fertilizer. So
Yeah.
get into the
At least you know
discipline.
you're doing it right, and you
Get into
can
the
count that out. If something's, you can say, at least I'm doing this part right.
Exactly. All right. Now, we talked about all the NPK fertilizers. Oh, a couple more. This is, I mentioned it before, the potassium nitrate. That's a 10-044, and this is one that you use to promote roots in your plant.
Okay.
So this is a fertilizer. It's still an NPK. It's a 10-044. So what does it do? It gives you 44 potassium, 0 phosphorus, 10 nitrate. So it's another good choice to use. And I'm going to take you now to the supplements.
Ooh.
These are the macro elements. Now we're going to go into the micro elements.
So can we kind of compare it? Can we make an analogy to, like, this is your food,
This is
more or less, and then here we have vitamins and.
this is your meat and potatoes. All
Okay.
this on the table is meat and potatoes.
Mhm.
And this is your salt and pepper,
Oh, okay.
or your Tabasco,
Uh-huh.
or your
Ketchup and mustard.
chicula, or ketchup and mustard.
So they're
This is-
additives that you add to the main. This is the macro, and these are the extra.
Exactly.
We call them micro, or no?
Well,
These are
supplements.
supplements.
This magnesium is a micro element.
Right.
However, Super Thrive is a supplement.
is a supplement.
Yeah, the chemical supplement because you add them to your fertilizer concentrate.
Right.
So the number one, granddaddy of them all, is Super Thrive. It has different presentations. We sell ours with a little dropper, and it goes to. We had a little anecdote here earlier on, and when the more often you use things, the less of it you use in it. So in your gallon of water. So for example, if you fertilize once a week, you only use between half or a full teaspoon of your fertilizer, and that will set the pattern. That's your landmark. That unit of measurement will dictate what else you do with the rest of the stuff that you add to the water. You're perfectly fine to add different things to the same water, as long as you're doing fertilizing. You don't mix it with insecticides or anything, because you spray them differently. But Super Thrive is an excellent supplement. The manufacturer recommends a few drops. Now Super Thrive it features kelp.
Kelp, I see that. Wow.
So it's behaving a little more like a fertilizer now, but I still treat it as a supplement.
So a few drops. So I just learned I was overdoing it because I would take the whole dropper and just the whole thing. That is wrong. I will adjust that accordingly.
I don't like to say
Dr.
wrong.
Carlos.
I don't like to say wrong.
But you're not following what the instructions are.
But it's a little bit too much, and basically the plant won't benefit from it.
Ah, okay.
So you're wasting your resources.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day,
right.
You know, if you can get there with half a tank of gas, why would you spend the whole tank of gas?
Right.
To get you.
And so, if in a nutshell, people were to ask you, what does Super Thrive do in a nutshell? Like,
Super Thrive is your vitamins and hormones. What it does, it tells the plant here, start processing. Super Thrive is a compound of vitamin B1, B12. It has a lot of amino acids in it. It has 4 different amino acids. One of the things that it does, it stunts the vertical growth of the plant, and when you do that, it makes the plant bloom more prolifically. Again, when it comes to orchids, they don't really like to listen to the science. They do their own thing when they need to, when they want to do it. But Super Thrive, what it does, it promotes roots, it promotes new tissue, it promotes blooms, but it follows the plant cycle. It's not like a panacea that's going to make your orchids bloom when you want them to bloom. If the conditions are not there, for as much Super Thrive as you give it, it's gonna grow. It's gonna allow the plant to assimilate the nutrients better, to assimilate the fertilizer that you give it better. Just the plant's gonna get bigger and better, and within reason. Here's something that happens. A lot of us get enthusiastic using Super Thrive, and they say, well, if a few drops are good, I'm gonna use a whole cap, or I'm gonna use a whole ounce, or half a bottle. And here's what happens. The plant will have too many resources, and she won't know what to do with it. So if she's close to a blooming cycle, what will happen is that you'll end up with a plant that instead of having 6 petals, you're gonna have 7 petals. Or you're going to have a flower that is deformed, which is going to try to give you 2 flowers out of the same sepal.
Yes, that has happened to me.
That's because
and now I know why. Because I do too much.
You're trying to
I'm
do
overdoing
too much,
it. And she came out with 2.
With two little.
Yeah, it looked like twins, like Siamese twins.
Like Siamese twins
connected.
That's
a little freaky.
It's because the plant has too much information, has too many resources, doesn't know what to do. It applies it to the job, but doesn't have enough genetics there to create 2 flowers.
Right.
So you get the.
Oh, I get it. So apply self-control, follow the directions is a lesson I am learning.
Whatever, yeah.
And don't assume that more is better.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Like if you like salt, if you like pepper, it gets to a point that it's too much, and it just messes up the food.
Right.
It's the same thing with the fertilizer and all those stuff. You have to.
Yes, self-control.
Go a step at a time.
Got it.
Yeah, just.
So it helps the plant grow. It helps the plants absorb nutrients.
Yes.
And if the plant is good and healthy, it will bloom better anyway because the plant is good and healthy.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's not that it makes it bloom better, but it'll make the plant be healthier. Therefore, in turn, it can have a better inflorescence if it's a healthier plant.
Exactly. It's it's like anything else that is organic. A well-tended crop will produce more. A well-fed stock will produce more. Well-fed chickens will produce more eggs. Well-fed cows will give you more milk. Healthy cows will give you more milk.
Right.
Healthy cows will give you healthy calves.
Got it.
So the better the plant is fair and maintained, the better she's gonna produce for you.
Got it.
Couple more supplements. We have Olivia's cloning solution. This is used in the hydroponic industry, and basically what this does, it tells is similar to Super Thrive, and this what it does, it tells a plant to grow new tissue, to do new things.
So vegetative growth.
Exactly.
Okay.
And another one is my favorite.
Woo! I love CalMag.
Calcium and magnesium. Now this is also called CalMag, but this is a supplement, not to be confused with your CalMag fertilizer.
Ah, bueno, that's confusing.
This is a 15-5-15 CalMag fertilizer.
Okay.
This is a calcium magnesium supplement. They are both called CalMag because we like to confuse everybody.
But do not get confused, guys. Even when they change orchid names halfway through.
Yeah, we orchid people love to do that. We change names all the time.
It's not a Schembergia any longer. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah. Nobody knows that. Anyhow, calcium magnesium supplement, CalMag fertilizer. Two different things. Now people will ask someone, well, if I'm using a CalMag fertilizer, do I need to use a calcium magnesium supplement? In the summer, yes you do. Especially on cattleyas and that type of plants. They deplete their calcium. Actually, if you have them outside and you have cattleyas outside and a major thunderstorm comes through, you might or might not end up with kind of like a sooty stain on the underside of the leaves.
Yeah.
And you start freaking out and you go like, oh my god, I have black rot, or I have this, or I have that. It isn't. This is a we have visitors. This is
that's good. You got business.
This is a manifestation of a calcium depletion. When you have a heavy rain, it leaches the calcium out of the cattleya plants, and they show that as a sooty lesion stain on the underside of the leaves.
Right.
If you see that, all you need to do is add more calcium.
Yeah. So that is a question I didn't know that I had, but I have it now because I have seen that. And here it's very hot, and we just had a lot of rains. So I start cleaning them off, thinking that it's mold. It's not mold.
It's similar. It looks like it, but it isn't.
But it comes off. Does it come off?
Not really. You have to. The sooty mold will come off. That will come off, but the calcium magnesium lesion that will disappear as you add calcium.
Oh, okay. So can you tell us how much to add per gallon of that?
Yes, I'm going to cover that in just a second.
In a second. Okay.
All right. So we cover the calcium magnesium. Okay. Now, a lot of us have, you go like, God, do I have to feed my plants every day with a different thing? It's crazy. I mean, do I do this? Do I do that? The one thing I tell customers, the one thing I tell anybody that asks is like, whatever works for you, do it. If it works for you and you're happy with the results, you don't have to worry about what I say or what anybody else says. You're happy with your plants, God bless you, you're good. Don't worry about it. That said, there are practices and there are choices that we need to do. I mentioned before that your fertilizer sets the rate of everything else. So people ask me, well, I mix this, I mix that, I mix this, I mix that. It depends on how often you do it. If you feed once a week, basically we recommend 1 teaspoon of water-soluble fertilizer in a gallon of water, and that'll be your threshold. That'll be your parameter. That'll be your guide. The teaspoon. Then you said I want to add seaweed to my fertilizer solution. So you have your seaweed, but you don't add a full teaspoon. You add half teaspoon.
Okay, that's another thing I'm overdoing.
And say, well, I also want to add more calcium and magnesium. Perfectly fine. You also add half a teaspoon to the same water. So the one that sets the pattern, the one that sets the rule, the one that sets the guide is your fertilizer.
So the main fertilizer should be the most of that.
That'll be the one that tells everybody else
What
you're gonna be in the party. So you use a teaspoon, half a teaspoon, half a teaspoon. Then if you're using Super Thrive and you do it every week, you do about 1 to 3 drops per gallon. Not the whole.
Yeah.
You do 1 to 3 drops.
No, and now that I have the 2-gallon one, I'm doing two. Oh goodness.
No, we don't do that.
But I'm learning, and I hope you're learning, because we need to follow the instructions. I mean, worst case scenario, we damage a plant. Not so bad, we just waste the products. Either way, it's better just to use them right?
Correct. I mean, it's a little bit frustrating because you have to kind of do it, and it's like I learned that a lot of this has to do with us being impatient and us wanting the results
Immediate
right
gratification.
away. And
Yeah.
with plants, they're living things. So you have to, first of all, when you buy a new plant and you bring it into your house, you have to understand that this plant was grown in a commercial greenhouse under ideal conditions. And you're taking that plant away from that home into a new home. Even us, when we move from one neighborhood to another, it takes time for us to adjust. It's the same thing with the plants.
Yeah.
They need time to adjust. And it might be that your place is a little bit hotter, it's a little bit darker, it's a little less windy, or has less air, or whatever. So you need to
Let it
take
acclimate.
into stock, allow the plant to tell you, hey, I like this, look at all my roots and I'm growing new leaves, so I'm happy. Or she's going like, I don't really like this, I'm not gonna grow anything because it's too hot, I'm holding on to my resources until I find something better. I mean, you have to, the plants do tell you what they like or they don't like.
That's what I love about the growing orchids and collecting orchids, that if you are good at observing, they'll tell you. You'll see the little changes. I mean, if you don't go out there for weeks, then you're not going to know what's going on. But I notice I have to go out there every day just to at least check and see what's going on. How are you doing? How are you? You touch the leaves, you go, how are you? Oh my God, I see a little spot. Let me think, and you go do some research. You look at it the next day. Is it something that, and it'll tell you. And then you have the process of elimination, like the scientific method in school. Kids, if you're listening, you have to do that's how we do it. That's how we do it. You got to say, okay, well, I'm doing the fertilizer, right? Is the temperature changing? Did I change the substrate and now it doesn't like it? It's not keeping enough. It went from spag moss to bark, oh no, or mounted, whatever. And it always goes through, what I notice when you bring it home, sometimes it goes through a little decline.
It's very common.
It gets used to, it's starting to get used to it, but it goes through a little bit of, oh my gosh, where am I? Am I going to like it here? I don't know. And then it starts to perk up again, and you can see, okay, this is doing good. This is, or sometimes, you notice a little spot on the leaf. Okay, too much heat, it gets burned, whatever it is. But you have to watch. What I tell everybody, my own opinion, humble as it may be, you gotta have the time to look and watch and observe, and then think about what it is that you're providing or not providing that is going to help your plant grow.
And small steps. Small steps. People like to do too many things all at once, and the plant doesn't know where to go.
Yeah.
So small steps.
Like one of my, I know I'm interrupting this, beautiful, but one of my biggest learning lessons in growing orchids was I would bring them home, take them out, replant them quickly at the wrong time when the roots were not growing, which everybody knows you can't, especially not to a cat. Don't do it to a cat. They will get mad at you for a very long time. And then like the first one that I remember I got at Carl Smith, which was one of my favorites, called Femme Fatale, it's beautiful. The next year it had a sheath and everything ready to bloom. That's why I bought her. I brought her home. I depotted her. I cleaned her up. I did so many things. I mounted her. I put her in too much sun. I burned a leaf. And then I wonder why she didn't bloom. Well, claro, I freaked her out. So just like chill, like when you move to a new house, let that acclimation period happen, and really research when is your plant going to be growing the roots that it's going to need to survive, so that you can repot at the most beneficial time, not whenever you feel like it because you bought a cute pot, which I'm totally guilty of. So I'm throwing myself under the bus here. I find a cute pot and I want to see her in the cute pot, or I find a cute mount. Look at like the ones that Carlos has. Look at those corky mounts are the best. Look at this here. I hope to buy one when I leave here. But let me tell you, you want to see your plant in bloom, beautiful, you know, how you want to see it. But you should wait and be patient.
Yeah, patient with yourself and patient with the plant.
Yes.
And it is exactly right. And it's like, you know, it's a very common thing. We all have done that. And on cattleyas, you mentioned that you don't want to repot cattleyas when they're not actively growing. It is a problem. Phalaenopsis, they don't care. You can repot them even while they're blooming.
I heard that's because they're growing most of the time. Most of the time, there's some growth in phals, so the roots they'll be fine.
The Phalaenopsis
Not like the what's the
Paphiopedilum.
No, the what am I talking? The cats with the two, like the
the bifoliates.
The bifoliates are the pickiest of them all.
They
like wait for a call from their grandmother to be repotted. That's how specific you have to be. When abuela calls and says, "Okay, darling, you can repot her," then it's okay. But don't do it when you want to. Make sure that she wants to.
No, basically on cattleyas, you want to see green tips, or you want to see new shoots before you repot it. And you know, if you know, just generalize and do that with all the cattleyas.
Yeah.
And actually, it does work on all the orchids. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes it easy for them to be repotted when they're actively growing. They're actively growing, so they will put up with the abuse, with the stress, and everything else. So they will do fine.
Right. All right, guys. So I don't know about you, but I am full of good information about all the nutrients, the macros, the micros, the supplements, everything you need to know. Now, this next part is also very important. We're going to do part 2 on how to apply the nutrients, the supplies that you could buy to apply the nutrients, and how to do that most effectively. So stay tuned for part 2.